If your dog is reactive, frustrated, fearful, or just completely loses their mind around other dogs or other people, this video is for you. One of the biggest mistakes that dog owners make is thinking that all reactivity is the same. It isn't. Dogs become reactive for a variety of different reasons, and the solution depends on you understanding exactly what's driving your dog's behavior and where they fall on the reactivity spectrum. In this crash course, I'm walking you through the entire reactivity spectrum, from very rookie level beginner stuff like with your puppies who are just starting to bark on the leash, all the way through the severe cases of barking and lunging at every dog all the time. You're going to learn exactly what to do, how to identify triggers, and how to become the dog owner that your dog needs you to be so that you can both live a calmer, more relaxed life together. Let's get into it. Now, I specialize in working with reactive dogs. Almost every single dog that comes through my training facility is dealing with reactivity to some degree. And I can tell you this very confidently that a 6-month-old puppy barking at everything is not the same as a dog that's been rehearsing reactivity for many years. But people try to train these dogs the same way and have the same expectations for both, and that's the problem. So let's break down the spectrum of reactivity. I break it down into 3 main levels, and we'll talk about where your dog might fall on that spectrum. Quick question before we get into it. When your dog is reacting, what does it look like? Is your dog whining? Is your dog crying? Are they trying to pull towards their trigger? Are they barking and snapping, lunging at everything? Are they completely losing their mind? Let me know in the comments. All right, level 1. This is your low level and your inexperienced reactivity. Now, these dogs are typically your young dogs, your puppies, your untrained dogs, and your dogs that just generally don't understand expectations just yet. These dogs might bark at things, they get overly excited on the leash, or they might just be overly reactive to changes in their environment. But the key is this is not deeply rooted behavior just yet. This type of reactivity is usually caused by a lack of structure, a lack of clear communication, and a lack of follow-through. These dogs can improve very, very quickly because they haven't built that habit really strong yet. If this sounds like your dog, this is the time for you to start working on this to get your dog to become more neutral. It only gets harder as we go into the other levels. Level 2, this is your learned and your reinforced reactivity. Honestly, this is where most dogs fall. These dogs have been rehearsing reactive behavior for months or even years. This is when your dog learns that when they react, something happens. This is no longer a dog not understanding expectation. This is no longer a dog being confused. This is a dog that's intentionally doing something, it's working, and now it's becoming a habit. This is where you're going to see consistent leash reactivity, very predictable triggers. You know exactly what's going to set your dog off, whether it's other dogs, whether it's people, whether it's squirrels, whether it's bikes, cars, you name it. This is also where your dog's intensity is going to escalate over time. At first, it starts with a little bit of whining or crying, or maybe a little bit of a growl. But now, as time has gone on, these behaviors are intensifying. It's barking, it's jumping, it's snapping, it's lunging, it's maybe even redirecting onto you like my dog Booker used to. It's no fun. Now, this level of reactivity usually stems from inconsistent training. Maybe you've done a little bit of training here and there. If you're doing a force-free approach and you're not holding your dog to any standard, you're afraid to correct your dog, and your dog's reactivity is just getting worse and worse, it's probably because of that. Or generally speaking, if you just don't have any consequences for your dog's behavior, you don't have any follow-through on expectations, your dog is likely going to fall in this range of the spectrum. In level 1, you can just start teaching your dog what you want them to do instead. They don't really know what they're not supposed to do or what to do. For example, instead of barking at the other dog, if you check in with me, I'll reward you for good behavior. Instead of lunging at the car, if you engage with me, I'll reward you for that behavior. When your dog's inexperienced in their reactive nature there, that is going to be a really good place to start, and that might solve your problems right there. Now in level 2, it's a little bit more complex because your dog knows what it's doing, it's liking what it's doing, it's becoming a habit. The reaction that they're giving, the barking, the jumping, the growling, the lunging, is working for them. They're enjoying it. They like what they're doing here. It's not as simple as teach them what to do instead here. You have to also teach your dog what they cannot do. You have to juggle both here. You have to tell your dog and correct the behavior that you don't like, and then build up an alternative skill as well to teach them what to do instead. You're doing two things. This is why it's more complicated in this level than it is in level 1. Level 3, your deeply rooted habitual reactivity. Now, this is the most serious end. This is a dog that is reactive to everything. They cannot settle. They're constantly overstimulated. They're always seeking things out in their environment. And you can tell that these dogs are just overwhelmed as soon as they step outside, or just in general, honestly. And in this level, reactivity is not just them barking when they're on a leash. The reactivity is pretty much their entire mindset. They cannot not react to every little change in their environment, regardless of where they are. This state of mind is really exhausting for dogs, and it does take a long time, and you have to change a lot of habits in order to help them feel better. These dogs are constantly living in a very heightened state of arousal all the time. They're constantly looking for things to do. They are what I would call stimulation seekers. They cannot just sit there, relax, and just decompress ever. They are very, very rehearsed in that reactive mindset. They are always practicing getting up and responding to every little change in their environment. Now, this stage of reactivity, I'm going to be completely honest with you, this takes a lot of work. You are changing your habits and what you're allowing your dog to do on a daily basis. You're probably going to have to implement so much more structure in your everyday life for these type of dogs. That means that you're going to start tethering them. That means you're going to need to start crate training them. They need your help in slowing their life down. You have to probably help your dog sleep more, because these dogs are always very sleep deprived. They're always constantly scanning, so it's hard for them to really just let go, relax, and get that deep restorative sleep and repair. Their nervous system is constantly like on high alert, and these dogs need more downtime. You're going to have to help them enforce that downtime, because with these dogs, you're not just breaking a habit. They're not just barking on the leash. Their whole mindset is what needs to be changed. After hearing about these 3 levels of reactivity, where would you say that your dog falls? Are they pretty new in this behavior, more level 1? Do they have a little bit of a habit going on there in level 2? Like you kind of know what they're going to be reactive to? Or is it number 3, where they're just kind of constantly stressed out and you feel like they respond to everything? My dog Booker, after I can reflect on this, he was definitely a level 3 case of reactivity. Man, that dog just could not react to everything all the time. It took a lot of work, but man, was it worth it. And when you're talking about a level 3 dog, you're talking months to years to getting your dog to that other side. It took Booker and I many months of being very, very, very consistent and intentional to get him to where he is now as the demo dog at my facility. Now, where your dog falls on this spectrum tells you a lot about how long it's going to take for them to get to that other side. Now, there's actually so much that goes into reactive dogs. There's so many reasons why your dog could be reactive in the first place. This is where people usually miss the bigger picture. They think it's just what's happening on the leash, but reactivity is so often not just what's happening on the leash. Your dog's reactivity level is also directly impacted by their exercise levels. If your dog's under exercise, they're gonna be more reactive. Your dog's mental fulfillment, so your dog being able to use its brain in a very productive way. This is like training, breed-specific fulfillment. If you're not doing this, dog's gonna be more reactive. Quality of sleep, this is a big one. If your dog isn't getting that deep restorative sleep every night, they're going to be more on edge. If they're more on edge, they're more likely to be reactive. Structure in the home. If you let your dog bark in the window all day, follow you everywhere, no rules in the house all the time, just let your dog do whatever the hell they want, your dog's going to be more reactive. And your daily routine. What does your everyday look like with your dog? Dogs thrive on predictability and clear expectations. If you don't have that, your dog's more likely to be reactive. Everything I just mentioned directly impacts your dog's ability to regulate their emotions, to be able to think clearly, and to be able to respond appropriately in different environments. As always, I'm going to be very transparent with you. Where your dog falls on this spectrum will directly impact your timeline to help them feel better and become neutral. If your dog is in level 1, your dog can improve very, very quickly. If you apply what I tell you to do, or you work with a trainer that knows how to handle reactivity, your dog can improve in as little as 1 session. I've seen it, I've done it. A dog in level 2 takes much more time and much more consistency. You're looking at probably a couple of months of very intentional, very consistent work. Again, practicing the good habits, making sure you're doing all the things I said to do, making sure that you are giving good feedback on the leash when they're making good decisions and when they're making bad decisions. And if you do that, you have probably a couple months ahead of you before your dog's able to be neutral. If your dog's in level 3, it's much more intense. You are looking at lifestyle change for you and your dog. You are looking for habit change for your dog and you too. And obviously, as we know, anything in terms of changing habits and changing lifestyle takes time. This is where you're looking at months to years to rewrite your dog's baseline and help them feel better, becoming more neutral. And this is where people get frustrated. They want results yesterday. They want their dogs to stop doing behaviors overnight that they've been rehearsing for years. And that's not how this works. Just like anything in life, you have to put in the work if you want to see results. Reactivity is not random. It's built. It's built through repetition, lack of structure, lack of accountability, and lifestyle factors. And the more it's built, the more it's rehearsed, the more it's practiced, the longer it's going to take you to undo. So stop comparing your dog to other dogs. Stop expecting the same timeline as someone else's dog. Figure out where your dog falls on this spectrum and train accordingly. Because once you understand where your dog falls, you understand how much time it's actually going to take you to overcome it. This is when you stop feeling frustrated and you can actually start making real progress. If you're working through reactivity, or if you've got any questions about anything I talked about in this video, drop a comment. I would love to be able to help you. I'm going to break this down into the 3 levels of reactivity that I use with all of my clients. Level 1 is inexperienced reactivity. Level 2 is learned reactivity. And level 3 is deeply rooted reactivity. You're going to learn exactly what each dog needs, depending on what level they're at, in order to overcome their reactivity issues. Level 1, inexperienced reactivity. Now, these are your puppies, these are your younger dogs, your dogs that haven't done any training, or just in general, your dogs that have never been told what they are supposed to do. They might bark at other dogs, they might pull on a leash, they might whine, they might cry, they might lunge. They are doing all of these behaviors because they don't know how to process the world just yet. These are dogs that are very impulsive. They just do what they want when they want because they've never been told what they're supposed to do. These dogs are not deeply rooted in reactive behavior. They're just inexperienced. But these dogs absolutely need clarity really fast. They don't need you babying them. They don't need you tossing treats at them while they disregard you and ignore you around everything that is more exciting. And they definitely don't need to avoid all the things that are exciting to them forever, even though there are a lot of trainers out there that might tell you need to do that. You don't. What they need to learn quickly is they get to see things that get them excited, but they're not allowed to explode at them. So what's the timeline for these level 1 dogs? When are they going to be able to start making better decisions around their triggers? These dogs can improve incredibly fast. This can be as in little as 1 session with the right trainer who's showing you how to communicate effectively. I've done that before multiple times with these level 1 dogs. It could take a few days, a few training sessions, a few weeks. It can be a really quick turnaround. Why? Because this habit isn't really deeply rooted yet. But if you don't do this, this level 1 dog is going to start forming these really bad habits, really bad patterns, and they're going to turn into a level 2 dog before you know it. Level 2, learned reactivity. Level 2 is where most reactive dogs live on this spectrum. These dogs, they know the routine. A dog appears, they stare, they load, they fixate, they whine, they growl, they bark, they lunge. The owner panics, has no idea what to do. The other dog leaves once they see your dog acting like a lunatic, or you remove your dog away from the situation. Now, this applies if your dog is fearfully reactive or just overly excited. Their behavior is working. If they're fearful, they are barking those other triggers away, or they're getting removed out of the situation. Or if they're overly excited or just frustrated, that barking feels really good. It helps them release that frustration. So they're just helping themselves feel better and cope in ways that they know how. Now, what do these dogs need? They need a lot more than level 1 dogs. These dogs need a full pattern interrupt, because now you're not just teaching them a new behavior, you need to break an old bad habit. These dogs need way more structure, clear consequences, better handling on your end, controlled exposure to their triggers, and consistency, consistent follow through every single time. This is a dog whose reactivity does not get fixed by tossing cookies at them while they explode at another dog. You need to change the pattern of this behavior overall. Now be honest, when your dog is reacting, does it feel like, here we go again? Your dog's just doing the same pattern over and over again just because that's what they do now around their trigger? If that's the case, that's level 2 reactivity. Now, what's the timeline for a level 2 dog? Well, it's going to be definitely more than a level 1 dog. This is going to take consistency over the course of months, most likely. Not because your dog is bad if they're in level 2, but because their habits are a lot more fixed. They have built them successfully over time. You are undoing a pattern for them that has worked over and over and over again. These dogs didn't just become level 2 overnight. This has been rehearsed over the course of months, if not years. So you need to stop expecting overnight change for things that have been taking years to build. Level 3, deeply rooted reactivity. Now, these are dogs that are totally different than level 2 or level 1 dogs. It's not just about the triggers they see when they're on a walk. Reactivity is their entire mindset. These dogs are always scanning the environment. They have hard time settling. They're always tense. Their brain can literally not settle down. They feel the need to respond to every little stimulus in their environment. These are often dogs that react to dogs and cars and bikes and wildlife and sounds and movement. They react to everything. That's because these dogs are living in a reactive state of mind, and that's a lot harder to change. These dogs don't need a few leash drills. These dogs don't need to be just corrected when they're exploding. These dogs don't just need treats. It's so much more than that. You cannot fix a level 3 reactive dog on walks alone. That's because the walk is where you see the problem the most. This is where it becomes the most challenging for you. But the dog's lifestyle overall is often where the problem is being fueled. So what's the timeline? How long does it take a level 3 dog to become neutral or to become more relaxed? Well, to be completely honest with you, it takes time. This takes months, if not longer sometimes, depending on how long your dog has been rehearsing this reactive state of mind. And that's not a bad thing. It does take more work, but I've done it. I know that it can be done. I've done it not only with multiple client dogs, but I've also had to do that with my own dog, Booker, when I first got him. He was a level 3 dog for sure. You're not just teaching leash manners. You're not teaching obedience. That stuff doesn't matter right now. You are changing the dog's mindset, their habits, their lifestyle, their nervous system, and just overall how they live in the world. The only way to overcome level 3 reactivity is with dedication and consistency. So in the end, there is no one-size-fits-all solution for reactivity. Reactivity gets fixed by matching the right plan to the right dog based on what level they're at. Level 1 dogs need clarity ASAP. They need to know what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. Level 2 dogs need pattern interruption. You need to stop these dogs ASAP from rehearsing bad behaviors and start reinforcing the good stuff when they choose it. Level 3 dogs need a lifestyle change. You need to change your habits with these dogs significantly and ASAP if you want to make change. What do they all have in common? This takes dedication and this takes consistency, but your dog deserves it. So if your dog is reactive, stop asking the "how can I stop their barking" question. Start asking yourselves, where does my dog fall on the spectrum of reactivity? Are they level 1? Are they level 2? Are they level 3? Because some dogs just need basic clarity. Some dogs need their bad habits broken, and some dogs need their entire lifestyle rebuilt. But no matter where your dog falls on the spectrum, the goal remains the same: neutrality. Not excitement, not chaos, not constant micromanaging on your end. A dog that can see the world and not lose their mind. That's what we're trying to build. This is the level where it is the easiest to fix it. Or it's the level where you accidentally make things a lot worse. Because level 1 reactivity is not a very serious problem just yet, but it will become one if you don't do things right now. So let's break down level 1 reactivity. What is it? What does it mean? And how do we fix it before it becomes a real problem down the road? So what is level 1 reactivity? Well, these are your puppies, these are your young dogs, these are your dogs that have done no training, and these are your dogs with no structure. These dogs might bark at other dogs, they might pull towards people, they might react to new things, they might just get overly excited by everything. But the key is that these behaviors are not deeply deeply rooted yet. These behaviors usually come from three problems. Number one, a lack of communication, or clear communication for sure. Number two, a lack of expectations, good and bad. These dogs have no idea what's good or bad just yet. And number three, a lack of follow-through. The owner doesn't follow through when they do good or bad. At this stage, most likely your dog isn't really ignoring you. They just don't have any idea what the rules are yet. Now, the biggest mistake at level 1 reactivity is the owners don't take it very seriously. They usually ignore their dog's reactivity, they laugh it off, they think the dog's gonna grow out of it, or they try to manage it and navigate around it instead of just nipping it in the bud right away. Or they go in the opposite direction, they just toss treats at it, hoping that that's gonna solve it, or they oversoothe and they talk, oh, no, it's okay, buddy, stop barking, dude. No, none of that stuff's gonna work. All that's gonna do is let the dog rehearse the behavior over and over again, and that's when they're gonna get really good at it. Because every time your dog reacts, that's a rep. And reps build habits. And before you know it, level 1 reactivity becomes level 2 reactivity because you've allowed it. Okay, great, I understand level 1 reactivity. Now, how do I stop level 1 reactivity before it becomes level 2 reactivity? Well, I'm gonna tell you 5 steps that you need to know to do just that. Step 1, create distance and set your dog up to win. Guys, this is huge. Do not train in chaos and don't start too close. You're just gonna set your dog up to fail. So if your dog is barking, lunging, whining, spinning on the leash, you are too close. Back it up, create some space, get to the point where your dog can see the trigger and still think and not lose their mind. That's where you start, step 1. Step 2, mark and reward neutrality. Now this is even more important because most people accidentally reward excitement. For example, a dog sees another dog, they get excited, they pull to the other dog, so you move closer or you let them get to the other dog in the worst case. Or the dog gets excited, so you start talking to him. That's okay, baby, don't bark, don't worry. So you're adding more excitement. In each one of those scenarios, you're accidentally rewarding the wrong thing. Instead, you want to reward calmness. You want to reward neutrality. So your dog looks at a trigger and then disengages, mark and reward. Yes, good job. Or, best case scenario, your dog looks at a trigger, instead of reacting, they look back at you, mark and reward. Yes, good boy, good girl. This way, you're teaching that they can look at things and they can get rewarded instead of reacting. So let me know, right now, when your dog sees a trigger, do they check in with you at all, or is it like you don't exist? Let me know in the comments and I can give you a couple tips. Step 3, interrupt early, not late. Please, please, please do not wait for the explosion. Reactivity always starts way before the barking and the lunging and the spinning on the leash. It usually starts with staring or fixating or tightening up of the body, or a good sign in most cases is when they start to completely ignore you. That's your moment. That's when you want to interrupt that behavioral pattern, not when it goes to the extreme. You can do this in a variety of ways. You can use leash pressure. You can give a little tug on the leash, a little correction. You can use your marker words. If your dog responds well to your verbal communication, you can use a verbal marker there, with like an ah. By doing this, you are interrupting the pattern of reactivity and you're telling them we're not going down that path. Step number 4, give your dog a job to do. Do not just tell your dog what not to do, tell them what to do instead. My favorite thing to do in these moments is engagement. So you build up engagement, not in these moments. You can do engagement drills before. I've got a couple on my channel. You can Google that. You can YouTube it. It's pretty easy to build engagement with your dog on leash. You practice that at home first. And then what I would look for in these moments, instead of reacting, you look back at me, mark and reward. Yes, good boy, good girl. Again, this is only going to work if you follow step 1 and you're at a distance where your dog can see its trigger and not lose their mind. If you are following all these steps accordingly, you'll notice your dog gets pretty good at this pretty quickly. And these are level 1 dogs. They do really well with this structure because their habit is not deeply rooted yet. So you'll notice, again, your dog will start doing really well. They'll start to look at their trigger and look to you. Look at their trigger, look to you. Look at their trigger, look to you. And they're getting rewarded for this process. You'll notice that you can start closing that gap in terms of distance really quickly because your dog's learning the expectation of what they're supposed to do when they see their trigger. You're replacing reaction with direction. What should I do instead? That is the key. I respond to every single comment. So if you have any questions about your dog, in particular with reactivity, level 1 reactivity, or anything else, give me a comment below and I'm happy to help you. And step 5, you probably guessed it, be consistent. This is where every dog owner struggles. Your dog thrives on consistency. Your dog sucks in the gray area. Dogs are black and white. Don't let them be confused. Dog owners will do it right. Sometimes you'll follow exactly that pattern, sometimes when you feel like it, and then sometimes you'll let it slide, or you don't really care, you're not paying attention. Whatever the reason, you're setting your dog up for failure. And that inconsistency is what builds the habit of reactivity. Dogs do not learn from what you do occasionally. They learn from what you allow repeatedly. Now, in the end, if your dog is in level 1, this is the time to act. The time is now. It's by far the easiest stage to fix, but only if you act immediately. If you ignore it, if you delay it, or if you let your dog just keep practicing it, you are actively creating a bigger problem. So if your dog is in level 1, this is your opportunity. Fix it now. Be clear, be consistent, and set your structure. Because if you don't, this will become a habit, and your level 1 dog will be a level 2 dog before you know it. If your dog has been reactive for a while, this is probably where you're stuck, because this isn't confusion anymore. This is a habit, and habits don't go away just because you want them to. These are dogs that are barking, they're jumping, they're lunging, they are pulling towards other dogs, and they've been doing it for months, if not years. And at this point, they're not guessing anymore. They know exactly what they're doing. So let's break down what level 2 reactivity looks like and how we can start breaking that pattern step by step. Now, be honest, when your dog reacts, is it basically like the same thing over and over again, rinse and repeat? Like they see their trigger coming before you do? Let me know in the comments. So what exactly is level 2 reactivity? This is when your dog sees their trigger, they lock in, they build up, and then they explode on their trigger. It happens pretty much the same way every single time, the same pattern of behavior every single time they see their trigger. Now here's the problem. This pattern has been reinforced. The dog reacts, the trigger goes away. The dog reacts, the owner panics. The dog reacts, the situation ends. And the dog learns, no matter what reason why they're reactive, the dog learns this behavior works. If your dog is fearfully reactive and they're barking because they are afraid of their trigger, most likely your trigger is going away, or you are removing your dog from their trigger when they explode at them. And that makes them feel good. That's what they want. Now, if your dog is overly excited or frustrated when they're on the leash when they see their trigger, then that barking feels good as well, because it helps them release that frustration and get some of that excitement out. Either way, their behaviors are being reinforced. So now the game changes. This is not level 1. You're not just trying to teach them something new to do. You're trying to undo something that already works for your dog. And that's a lot harder. The biggest mistake that people make in this level of reactivity is they try to treat these dogs who are very good at what they're doing like they're level 1 dogs. They try to distract the dog, they try to bribe the dog, they try to avoid their trigger forever, or they just sometimes just try to hope the dog chooses better randomly all of a sudden. The mistake is these dogs already have a winning strategy in their head. They know what they're doing. Their habits have been reinforced over and over again. They are confident in this behavior. So if your plan is anything above, or especially if you're just hoping that they're just one day going to grow out of this and just choose better, you're going to lose every single time, because they've already made this choice, the choice of being reactive, over and over again, hundreds of times. It's not just going to stop happening randomly. Okay, so my dog is struggling at this level. They have been rehearsing the behavior for months, if not years. How do we improve? Well, right now I'm going to tell you 5 quick steps to get you to improve your dog's reactivity at this level. Step 1, and arguably most importantly, you have to stop letting your dog rehearse the behavior over and over again. Now, this is non-negotiable. If your dog is reacting on every single walk, you cannot provide them with the opportunity to keep doing this. Every rep that they're doing, they're getting better and better at being reactive. You've got to stop this pattern. So this is going to make it a little bit more challenging in the beginning. You're going to have to go on walks at different times than you're used to. You want to make sure that you're not going to see your dog's trigger on the walks for the time being. You want to make sure that you are operating from enough distance in between your dog and their trigger in order for them to be successful and not have a reaction. You need to avoid tight setups that you can't control. And I'm not one of those trainers that's going to tell you this forever, where you're always going to have to be avoiding your dog's trigger. Nope. But for right now, you absolutely have to. Step 2, you have to fix the buildup before the explosion. Most owners wait way too long before they interrupt the dog's pattern. They wait until they see barking, lunging, and chaos before they decide to do anything, if they do anything at all. But the reaction starts way before that. It starts with scanning the environment constantly. It starts with fixating. It starts with stiffening of the body language and just ignoring you altogether. That's your moment right there to interrupt their behavior, to break the pattern, because once they begin reacting, once they're over threshold, the moment is gone. You're not doing any learning in that zone. Step number 3, create clear consequences and give clear direction. Now, this is where so many owners really struggle, because this requires leadership. This requires you to step into a role that you might not be comfortable filling with your dog on a day-to-day basis. You need to be able to clearly communicate to your dog, this behavior is absolutely unacceptable. This is what you're supposed to do instead. So in the moment when your dog is building towards a reaction, you need to interrupt them, make sure they know that's not what they're supposed to do. You're stopping the pattern before it becomes an explosion. And then what are they supposed to do? Your job is to give them a clear job to do instead. A good way to do this is to keep your dog moving. Use movement to your advantage. Create a little bit of space and give direct guidance with your movement. Don't just ask your dog, come on. Come on. No, use your leash and guide them away. Create a little bit of space from your trigger. Most dogs are going to really struggle if you put them in a fixed position and let them just stare at their trigger, because they're going to explode at some point. I love using engagement. So when my dog actively looks at their trigger and then looks at me instead, I reward that all the time. That is my desired behavior for any dog that I work with. I teach them how to engage with me instead. So when they start building or loading onto one of their triggers, I'll interrupt that behavior, but then I will mark and reward when they choose the right one. You can't just correct if you're not going to reward the good stuff afterwards. Step number 4, reward recovery and not just perfection. Now guys, this is huge because your dog's not going to be perfect right away. This is going to take time, and we don't want to wait till perfection to be able to reward our dogs. Ideally, like I said, my dog is engaging with me when they see their trigger, but that doesn't happen right away. As soon as they disengage from the trigger, I'm going to mark and reward that. I want them to know, hey, I see you actively not reacting and making a better choice. I'm going to mark and reward that. I want you to know that's the right choice. The whole goal of this is showing their dog that there is an alternative option to reacting that's going to get you a reward instead of correction. That's helping them come down and regulate themselves. It's emotional regulation, and that's always the goal. Last but not least, step number 5 is use controlled exposure and not just chaos. Now, here, level 2 dogs, they're really good at reacting, right? But they need a lot of reps in order to learn better habits. But these reps have to be controlled. These reps have to be the right reps. For example, here at my facility, we work with a lot of dogs who are struggling with reactive issues every single day. And the job of the demo dogs, the helper dogs, are to be neutral, so that we're giving the reactive dogs someone to work with that's not going to make the problem harder. Most of the time when you go on a walk with your reactive dog in your neighborhood's filled with other reactive dogs. It's incredibly difficult to make progress in that type of an environment. In order to make progress, you need controlled setups. You need controlled exposure. You need clear handling. You need clear direction, clear communication. And you want your sessions to be short but successful. Don't wait long enough until your dog fails and reacts. You want to keep these short and sweet. Remember, you are rewriting a pattern of behavior. You need the reps to be successful, and you need to stop having the bad reps. Think of it like tilting a scale. If your dog has reacted this many times and not reacted this many times, we need it to look more like this. But it's never going to end up being more like this if we keep having reactions, right? Your scale is never going to tilt back into your favor if you keep allowing your dog to have reactive episodes. Now remember, in full transparency, this is not a quick overnight turnaround. Your dog did not become reactive overnight. They're not going to solve that overnight either. You're practicing a habit that has been rehearsed over and over and over again with a dog that is very confident in that behavior. Don't get discouraged, stay consistent, and your dog will make progress. Honestly, level 2 is where most people get stuck in their reactivity journey. This is because most owners try to fix the habit without changing the pattern. Stop just hoping your dog makes better choices. Start guiding them. Start leading them into better choices. Interrupt the buildup, give direction, reward the recovery, and control the environment. That's how you break the cycle of level 2 reactivity. The thing about level 3 reactivity is it's not about behavior anymore. It's about your dog's state of mind. At this point, their reactivity is no longer situational. It's habitual and it's emotional. Now, if your dog reacts to everything, this is the hardest level to overcome, but it's also the one that's going to teach you the most. Now, I work with dogs like this all the time. These are dogs that cannot settle. They react to everything. They're constantly scanning the environment, and they're constantly on edge. Now, a lot of these dogs have just been labeled aggressive or unpredictable or just wired this way. But when you actually break it down, this couldn't be further from the truth. So let's talk about level 3 reactivity and how to fix it step by step. Now, be honest, does it feel like your dog is always on? Like they can't relax? They're constantly looking for something to do? If that's the case, your dog might be a level 3 dog. Let me know and I can give you more information. The biggest mistake that people make in level 3 reactivity is that they only try to spot reduce the problem. For example, people try to fix their dog's reactivity on walks. They go outside, the dog reacts, they try to correct the reaction, they try to give them a treat out of it, they try to manage the situation, but the walk is not the problem. The walk is where the problem shows up. With level 3 dogs, the real issue is the dog's lifestyle, the dog's baseline state, and the dog's inability to regulate their emotions. If your dog is chaotic all day, they're absolutely gonna be chaotic outside. So guys, I know having a level 3 dog is not easy. I had one, my dog Booker was absolutely a level 3 dog, but I'm gonna talk about 7 steps right now that can help you improve this as soon as we can. Step 1, fix your dog's sleep schedule. Now, I know what you're thinking, what does this have to do with anything with their reactivity on leash? Well, it couldn't be more connected, actually. Most level 3 dogs don't rest properly. They follow their owner constantly. They react to every noise that happens, and they stay in a constant state of stimulation. They're always looking to do something. When a dog lives like this, their nervous system is completely overloaded. First things first, with these dogs, you gotta teach calm. You're gonna have to make them choose calm because these dogs don't wanna choose it right now. That means structured crate time. That means tethering. That means intentional place work. You're gonna have to force downtime on these dogs. These dogs would rather do anything else other than relax and turn their brains off. But they need your help. You need to coach them a lot hands-on in the beginning to help them turn their brain off and actually choose relaxation. Because a dog that cannot regulate at home will absolutely not relax outside. Step number 2, build fulfillment for your dog, not just exercise. A lot of people think a tired dog is a good dog. All I need to do is tire my dog out and then they're gonna be good to go. This is where all of my daycare goers and all my previous clients who come in with daycare dogs, I can tell right away because these dogs only know how to chill out when they're completely exhausted. But quite frankly, that's not enough. That's not what dogs need, especially a level 3 reactive dog. They need way more than this. They need structured outlets for their energy. And that includes obedience work, building engagement, playing games with your dog like tug or structured fetch. You can do food-based problem solving, and you need breed-specific outlets. Fulfillment gives dogs direction. Without it, they often look for something to do, and that's most likely going to become reactivity. Before we go any further, tell me, what does your dog do all day long? Are they constantly looking to follow you around? Are they pacing around the house? Are they bouncing from family member to family member looking for affection? Are they barking in the windows all day? Do they have any structure at all to their day? Or are they just kind of going about life doing whatever they please all day long? This is going to tell us a lot about your dog's state of mind. Step number 3, fix the house before the walk. Now, I know this might not make sense right away, but I promise you this is the way to address this. I know you're thinking my dog's reacting on the leash. That's when I have the most issues with them and I can't control them. But the problem starts with what you allow in the house. Inside the house, most level 3 reactive dogs are following their owners everywhere, barking out the window all day, reacting to every sound in the environment, constantly demanding attention and affection, and living with way too much freedom. And then outside, you expect them to be calm and make good decisions, and it just doesn't work that way. You need structure inside the house first. Boundaries, clarity, calm expectations. And once your dog's able to consistently do that inside, you're gonna notice how much easier your dog is to manage outside. Step number 4, lower your dog's baseline before we do work around their triggers. You absolutely cannot throw a level 3 reactive dog into chaos and expect progress. These dogs need to decompress first. These dogs are overwhelmed. They're stressed out. They need way more decompression before we jump into the trigger work. This means quieter environments, more space, less pressure, slower exposure to their triggers. Because most of these dogs are like a level 7, 8, 9 all the time in terms of stress. Of course, they're able to hit a 10 and explode very, very quickly. We need to lower that baseline down. Step 5, you need to rebuild trust in you as the handler. Guys, this is absolutely huge. Most of these level 3 dogs have absolutely zero trust in their handler to handle the environment appropriately. So these dogs feel the need to take over the situation. The thing about leadership people don't understand is that role is going to be filled. If it's not you, it's going to be your dog. Your dog is going to take over and just make decisions. You're not going to like their decisions. This is where so much of reactivity stems from for so many dogs, is they have no trust in their owner, so they're just saying, I'll handle it. I have to. You're not going to. You need to show your dog, I've got control of this. I will handle the situation. I understand you. I will lead you to success. So that means before your dog explodes, you create space for them. You don't put them in bad situations in general. You advocate for their needs so they don't have to advocate for them. And you give clear direction. Leadership is not just about correction. It's about better decision making and showing your dog that you can and will control situations. Step 6, controlled exposure and clear communication. Once you've done all of that, steps 1 through 5, now we can start working your dog around their triggers. But it must be done slowly and it must be done under control. You need distance, you need short sessions, you need predictable setups, and you need clear communication. When the dog starts to build towards their trigger, they start loading up on it, we interrupt, we redirect, and then we reward the right decision. That's why so many dogs do so well here at my facility, because we can give them that controlled environment. It's so hard for reactive dog owners to find situations to work with their reactive dog without it being total chaos. Your neighborhood, most likely chaos. A park, most likely chaos. Here, we control the environment. We set them up around dogs that make good decisions and are going to make our reactive dogs' lives easier. And we put in the work here, controlled setup. That's why it works. So you can see that there's a lot of the same steps here as level 2, but you're going to need more time and you're going to need more patience. These dogs are going through it. They need your support and they need your patience. This type of stuff takes time. I know I had that level 3 dog. It took me months of being very consistent with my dog Booker, but I'm telling you, there is no better feeling in the world than helping your reactive dog become neutral and less stressed in every environment. Because remember, at this point, you're not just fixing leash behavior. You are changing habits, you are changing the mindset, you're changing the nervous system, and you're changing your lifestyle, how you live day to day with your dog. And that just simply doesn't happen overnight. Level 3 dogs are not broken. They're not a lost cause. They're just overwhelmed. They've learned to live in a very reactive state of mind because no one has shown them an alternative option. So if this sounds like your dog, slow down, fix your foundation, be consistent. Because once you change your dog's state of mind, getting them from that reactive state of mind constantly to choosing calmness, slowing their minds down, everything else starts to change, including the behavior on the leash. If this video helped you at all, please like it, share it with everybody. It helps me reach more reactive dog owners that need help. As always, if you're looking for real, no bullshit training content that actually works, subscribe to the channel. I want you to be here. I'm the Big Dog Guy, and I'll see you in the next one.